You want to do the blank slopes not right now. Oh, but it's that, you want to do the other one? Let's see, we have to swear it in. Okay, so I don't call it to order because it's after. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Our first deal tonight is going to be swearing in the new elected members. We have 3 of them. So Mr. Darling's going to take that over.
Yeah, so our 3 board members, please come down to the floor. And if you can't memorize it very well, bring your cheat.
Yeah, my name.
Don't say my name.
Your name.
You have to say our name.
Or show us. Oh, I can't say. Sure.
All right. Raise your hand.
I know.
I state your name.
I
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Washington
and
and the state of Washington
and the laws of the state of Washington,
And
and the laws of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of school director of Grandview School District
of the office of school director of Grandview School District
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
If so, please indicate by saying I will.
I will.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I should have said state my name, huh?
Yes, statement.
Awesome. That was great. So we'll go back to welcoming guests again, because that's part of my little deal here. We're going to do our flag salute tonight, and little Miss Kira Charvette's going to come up and lead us in the flag salute because she's the best ever at it. And then you win a picture with me, which is the greatest thing ever. So may never do this again, but anyway. Yep.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent.
Good job.
I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna look down, and then you're gonna tell me which I got. He's gonna say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna see.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You did something.
Wait, Mom got him into that round.
Oh, sorry, let me get out. Okay, did Mom get rid of that? Okay.
Good job, Kara.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, I'd like to, any additions or deletions to the agenda? No, we're good. Any public comment? No, that's even better. Okay, we're gonna do a presentation from our ASB group. Thank you, thanks for coming.
My name is Michaela and I'm a social media director.
My name is Luis and I'm the assistant treasurer.
So today we're gonna talk about sports, and we had our first wrestling meet on Thursday and it went really well. It was against Ephrata, and I'm pretty sure that Grandview won against Ephrata, both girls and boys. So we have a pretty strong team this year. And then our basketball teams had their first 2 games last week on Tuesday and Friday against West Valley and Zilla. And the girls won their game against West Valley, but the boys lost. And then Zilla, they both lost against. And then for Adopted Family, we're starting to fundraise and starting to get everything ready to go buy our gifts. And it's going pretty well so far. We're starting to get more donations in, and we're starting to get all our families organized and getting ready to go get all of their presents.
Okay, and we also have DECA area. All competitive members have a chance to get to state after area, and then from there to ICDC, which is in Atlanta this year. Their placement for state depends on their tests and their presentation. Their test was taken a month ago, and they're going to they do their presentation at Columbia Basin College the 10th, I believe, so tomorrow. FCCLA has their toy collection. They're collecting toys from 16 months to 16 years. The last day to donate is the 17th, and for each toy donated, there is 2 community service hours for every student who donates, and 10 maximum. This is a lot, but we have the holiday spirit week. So Christmas PJs is Monday, where we also layer them, so that we're doing Christmas movies at lunch, hot cocoa and pan dulces during advisory. And Northern Lights is Tuesday, where they're gonna make paper snowballs in advisory, and they're going to write a positive affirmation and crumple up the paper for a snowball fight in the courtyard. And they dress up in Northern Lights colors, so kind of like red, green, like along those. And then Wednesday's Winter Wonderland. They're going to do a candy cane hunt, and that is when the snowball fight will take place. And the Thursday is North Pole, where staff dress as Grinch and Santa, and the students will dress as reindeer and elves, or brown or green if they don't have a costume. And then Friday's Ugly Sweaters, where they will get a Christmas Carol presentation during advisory from the leadership class. And that's it.
Thanks. Sounds festive.
Thank you.
I do have a question. On the adopt a family, when and where do you take donations?
You drop off donations at the office and
At the high school?
Yeah, at the high
Okay.
school. And the deadline is the 15th.
Okay.
Or have
You
you
don't
on
only, for the adopted family, you can do monetary donations or physical donations if that wasn't if anyone did that wasn't known.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can start to swear, but I monetary.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're on their list, they come to your office and see you.
I don't think anything can drive Tri-Cities, so. I'll have to go find them on Friday. Okay, I will get a hold of Swear and do that. Awesome, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go enter consent agenda. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, under the new business, since we didn't have any, and I'm asking this, but since we didn't have any comments on all of these surveys, can we do them as a one?
New business.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. New business, I'm sorry, the CLC School Improvement Plan.
Make a motion to approve. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Authorizing investment officers, resolution 5. Call for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Did
second
you
it.
get that? Do I need to speak clear? I'm sorry, let's go back, start over. Call for.
I make a motion to approve the
I second it.
resolution 5.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then we go to resolution 6, authorizing auditing officers applicable to Grandview School District.
Make a motion to approve resolution 6.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 7, authorizing signatures for specific financial transactions and warrant registers.
I make a motion to approve resolution 7. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move on to the appoint members for and against the school levy. Do we have anybody that reached out for the against? Okay, so we have one person that, I don't know if they reached out, but they were gonna be appointed to do the 4. Like to call for a motion to approve and that person was Shelby Hall. So I'd like to call for a motion to appoint members for this.
Make a motion to appoint Shelby Hall for the 4 committee for our levy. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So what do we do on the against? Just publish it again?
It goes to the county.
Oh, the county will take care of it from there, okay. Okay, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the supervised after-school activities for student interlocal agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the supervised after-school activities for the interlocal agreement.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the superintendent's update.
All right, good evening, board. Thanks for being here. I know there's no way you'd rather be than others. Actually, it's a warm Tuesday evening. It's like 65 degrees outside.
Yeah.
115 here.
Quite the change
Yeah.
from last week, right?
Yeah, it's not 760 like it is half the time.
Just so you're aware, and I included a link in, if you want to see the ESD 105 legislative priorities. They're the same song that we've been singing for quite a while. So as an FYI, the Student Advisory Council is going to be hosting our first Student Voice Summit at January 22nd at be at the high school, it'll be in the auditorium and some other places, and so they've invited Prosser, Wapato, Sunnyside, Sela. I'm trying to remember who else. I think they've invited 6 districts total to send 5 or 10 students from each district to come and participate in that. And so it's going to be all student led, all student speakers, student forums, all kinds of good stuff. And so
What time?
it'll start at 9 a.m. and it'll go till 1. Well, the lunch will start at 12:30, and then students will eat and then they'll all leave. So you're more than welcome to show up for all of that day. It'll be great. And then we have confirmed 5 of our state senators or representatives will be at our legislative meeting next Tuesday.
That's great.
Yeah, which is good. I attended the ESD one this morning. They only had 4, so we're gonna beat them.
Nice. Make sure you put that on the website.
Yeah. And it's gonna be great. The way it'll be set up, basically, we're gonna set up 5 tables for meals, assign each representative to a table, and then we'll randomly place us and the other school board members and superintendents at the other tables as well. And so we'll have the agenda. On the back of the agenda, we'll have some like questions for the board, questions for the superintendent, questions for the state legislator. So if you want some conversation pieces during the meal, you can ask them. And then afterwards, we're just gonna kind of sit in a circle and have a talk. Sometimes we have some really organic conversations with them. They're used to having a very structured, sit in a panel, some structured questions. But I think this will give us a little more time to have some organic conversations with them, and they'll be able to hear the different districts and perspectives. And so I'm putting together a packet for them that kind of just like highlights that each of our districts, our student population, how much we spend per student, how much we are, graphs of our budgets, some talking points for the board, for the members too. It'll be good. It'll be our first one. It's going to be fantastic, and there's going to be pozole.
Even
Yeah,
better.
Christmas.
Perfect.
So come hungry. Upcoming events. We're in full holiday season, so we have our TVIP night tomorrow night at the McClure at 6. The 11th is HT's family night. The 15th, next Monday, they have the posada at the high school, so there'll be live music, traveling around, kind of mimicking the traditional posada that happens down in Mexico. 16th, we have a regional dinner. If you want to show up a little bit early and mingle, the program will start at 6 with the Mariachi Grand Vista kicking us off. The 18th, the HT's having a family movie night, if you want to show up for that. The GMS Christmas concert's been canceled because the band director's on leave, and they have a sub, but the sub probably not somebody who's confident or excited to be able to lead a Christmas concert, especially since they've had a sub for a couple of weeks, and so they're not quite ready for it. So we'll get that taken care of. And then winter vacation, no school, and then right as soon as we get back, I'll copy the suits for the Virginia. That's my board report.
So one thing, if anybody wants to attend any of the things that are happening in the next month, just make sure you let Rob know, just in case we end up with 3 of us that decide to do that. They can at least publicize it and get it out there. So just make sure you go through Rob and or Sabrina and let them know that if you are planning to attend anything, so they can plan for that.
Okay.
How many days ahead of time do we have to publish? Is it 2 days?
I think it's
3
8 hours.
48 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next agenda item is mine. It's reorganizing the board. So we have a chance every year when we have newly elected members or new officials joining us. We have a chance to reorganize the board if that board sees fit. So our current, we have Dan Hall as board chair, Heather Garcia Mendoza as vice chair. We have a need for a legislative rep and Chuck Stegeman as a curriculum council representative. So do I hear any motion from the board for to nominate a chair?
I move that we just leave all 3 of them the same.
Okay.
I second it.
We have a legislative rep position. Is anybody interested in that? I know I have expressed an interest, but with my current work situation, I'm not able to commit to that right now, but Does anybody interested in the legislative representative position?
What would that entail?
It's, well, it was.
It has been in a while.
At WASDA, they will have strands for reps to attend. And they do have regional legislative meetings like quarterly. So they host at the ESD 105, ESD 112, those kind of things. Sometimes they'll host it at a district, but it'll just be board members who are the reps for that board. But usually it's maybe once a quarter.
And then there's the legislative day at the Hill in January.
Yeah, so sometimes
usually.
we go over for the day on the Hill with the ESD. We can partner up, and I went over last time and we had a lot of good meetings, and so we can coordinate that too. That works.
Tell me you're interested in
It's
If we need someone, I could do it. Is it my,
top of your list.
right, not necessarily.
You don't
but-
have to, I mean, you don't
No,
have to, I'm just asking.
We just haven't
because-
had anybody.
we
there,
haven't.
So,
And we, as you can see, we have opportunities like with our legislative
Yeah,
here in the region
absolutely.
where we're able to still make those connections.
All right, but I'm good at leaving it open for now.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion to maintain as is, and we have a second. Any other conversation? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Motion carries. The board will remain the same.
all right. Okay, we'll move on to our monitoring. This is the one that I want to talk about that we can do all this. There was no comments. They were all just approved as is. Just to save a little bit of time, I thought maybe we could just treat them all the same. If somebody wants to make a motion that way.
I make a motion to approve all the board response monitoring. Or I guess, do I want to list them all off?
You wanna make a motion to approve BSR 1, BSR 2, BSR 3, 4, EL 8, EL 11, EL 12, and EL 14 as
As a collective.
as
group.
approved.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? That was a nice
I
chunk
want
out
to
of
read
it.
them all.
Every bullet point, right?
And I know you don't know this, but now we have a board assessment, what we do, and you'll get to see it here in a minute. Are you done with that, Trey, or?
I am done.
We have done this in the
first
people, but we don't get very many people that sit in our meetings, so this is our little it's kind of set up to where somebody would be in there and monitor us to see how we do.
Oh, I see.
But since we don't normally get very many people out there, but if we start getting some that keep coming, we'll get them to do these from now.
We have some roadies.
But
now.
yeah, but we kind of assess ourselves on how the meeting went, and this is just kind of a generic deal, and then we kind of go over it and see if there was anything. And I hope everybody is as honest as they can be on this, and if there is something that, you know, isn't good, we do follow that, but it's kind of our own little
All right,
assessment.
we love our assessments and surveys.
So, yeah, we love our assessments and surveys.
Sounds good.
that kind of came from our policy governance that we
That makes
went with.
sense.
So we do that on a monthly basis, so that's why we're looking at reevaluating our evaluation of ourselves, because if we kind of do it on a monthly basis
Mhm.
and not an end of the year thing, so
Makes sense.
anyway.
I like it. All right.
This was something I asked to have added to the agenda, was from the board. I'd like to get some feedback from everybody on, and where this, and I know most of you already know where this came from, was we ask when we send people on trips or to trainings and different things to come back and let us know how it went. What were the good things, the bad things? What would we do different? You know, what were some topics you got out of it? So I would like to get that from each of us. How was WASDA? And maybe a couple things that you got out of it that were, you know, some things we could learn from, we can build on. So we're going to start with Mr. Shreve, because they actually went to WASDA also.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Hall. No, it was a very good conference. One of the ones that I went to, actually attended with Mr. Hall there. And I thought that was the one I had the biggest takeaway, is dealing with districts that are under binding conditions and the types of things that the board can be looking at before that actually happens. Binding conditions mean the district is faltering, let's call it that. And so different things we're looking at, so you know, we already give you cash flow, but they can look at it, like ask for a treasury statement as an example. Instead of just the budget status that comes out. And they had a couple other great suggestions in there. And so with those, I thought I'd just keep it short, but I can go much deeper. Is that okay?
Yeah, and I'm gonna elaborate on a couple things in that same session. First of all, I want to let everybody know that when Brad walked in, they wanted him to lead the meeting. Because they think that highly of him. I want everybody to know that. But one of the people stood up and said, how do we know what the financial person is telling us is accurate? Because, I mean, we put a lot of faith in them. How do you actually know that? And there is some things you can get, like you were just saying, the tracer deal, we can get from the county. Or what was the one that you could get from the county?
That'd be the treasurer statement, but you can request that through like the superintendent or business
Yeah,
person.
so you can request these as some backup to show how you're doing. A couple other good ones that they brought up were, you want to make sure there's not a drawer that is full of bills that you have not paid. You also want to make sure there's not a drawer with a bunch of checks for paid bills that you have not mailed, because it'll show in your statement that you've paid them, but it won't show in the account as the money's come out. So you'll definitely show very well, but none of the checks have cleared. So just a couple little examples of some of the things that these were 2 or 3 people from ESD that come and help school districts, and they're things they've ran into, where they found a drawer full of bills that nobody's paid, or they ran into a thing of a bunch of checks that they hadn't mailed because they show that they pay them, but they don't ever send them out.
And on the register, they're all in sequential
Yep.
order, but
So they're just little things that they ran into that were brought up, and it was quite interesting. And so anyway, that was a good one to bring up.
So, a couple of things that come to mind. One, I went to one on cell phones.
I was saying that
And
also.
Yep, the cell phone policy and how to really enforce it. Christy Dominguez, who's the superintendent for Ferndale Public Schools, and her board and her principal. And the cool thing about it is they said it cost them $0 to implement a cell phone policy. But they actually had to implement it. It was supported by the board first and foremost, which gave some teeth, if you will, to the superintendent, which then kind of held the building principal to the fire, if you will. So they took cell phones away, they had a cell phone jail, they had communication to parents, here's the policy, here's what's gonna happen. And she had to be kind of really strict initially on taking those cell phones. And now they're in a good spot as a district. They also did a book study on the anxious generation. There've actually been research studies on cell phone use and social media for kids since 2007, when the first iPhone came out. And they actually started their research back in 2010, 2011. So this is even pre-COVID. We already knew the damaging effects of cell phones for kids at a very young age. So that was really good. We got some nuggets from that. The second one was I went to one, which is around hate speech. The Vancouver Public Schools had a situation where there was racial slurs being used and it made the news. And so the district had to react. And so they actually created some teaching materials where they trained all their administrators, all of their parapros, all of their certified teachers, pretty much everyone in the district. So I did reach out to them and get some of their materials. So I thought that was a really good one. And then I think the 2 keynote speakers were amazing. Dr. Hamphill, I think, ways of doing versus ways of being. I thought that was really powerful. And then Kathy Davis at the end with inclusionary practices. And so initially as a district, we're like, we've attempted or we've dabbled in inclusionary practices. I think we need to double down on that. And so Shantae is actually out there researching, learning more around how we can better do inclusionary practices in Grammy School District. So they're kind of the 4 highlights for me.
And one, because I happened to be in the one, he was on the cell phone. One of I think it was the superintendent lady, she said she talked to one of the students, and this was after they had it implemented for a while. And I really took this, really stuck in my head. The girl student came and said, I just want to thank you for doing this. And she goes, why? And she goes, because now I can eat at school.
Yeah.
And she goes, what do you mean? She goes, I was afraid to eat because I was afraid somebody was going to take a picture of me and post it. So she goes, I wouldn't eat. She goes, now I'm finally eating at school. It just blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew me away. But anyway, that was something I took out of it also. Trey?
Well, for me, obviously being new, the boot camp was probably the best thing that it took with me as far as like how a board operates and all the nuanced stuff that, we got to go through in our responsibilities. So learned quite a bit during that and kind of got a better understanding of how we function and, the legal side to stuff and the way we do things and stuff like that. So that, and then the levies and bonds I sat in on, that was a good thing, obviously going through it. And so me and Chuck got to sit in on that and get a little better understanding of how that goes. And it was actually the same guy that came in and gave the presentation to us that gave that one too.
That's right.
So it was, I guess learning more on that is levies are for learning and bonds are for building. So it's kind of what I took from that. But yeah, overall it was a good time. I learned a lot. So
Awesome.
Yeah. And piggyback on some of what was already said, the guest speakers, of course, I did think that both of them were very amazing the first day. And something that I took away, and I think about our programs here with CT as we're trying to expand opportunities for our students, is what are we doing with our, do we have like programming opportunities? Do we have technological opportunities for our students to begin to learn what it's going to take to function, right? With use of AI, with use of technology, with programming, things like that, so that they can also explore other careers. Because something that stood out, of course, was a young man's scenario that she shared. And I think, what was that, like an 80-some thousand starting position? And he had taught himself so many languages, but how can we help our kids learn some of those things? But anyways, that I also sat in on the bond and levy. It was, of course, very informative, especially knowing that we are getting ready to run our levy. I thought it was helpful information. There was a session that I thought was helpful, and we continue to try to connect more with our community. That was based off of how do we communicate with media? How do we help them also have information about our district when we have things that are going really well, and sometimes even when they're not going so well, so that we can share what's happening at that time. I thought the gentleman did a really good job. He was former journalist, but he's also a board member. And so if we ever wanted to pursue that as like professional development for ourselves of how do we communicate in that aspect of it, I thought it would be helpful. But the last one that I think that I wanted to bring back that I think may be helpful is that there was a company that has the ability with AI to basically go around the buildings and to map them out, find out where we have, sprinkler systems, fire extinguishers, smoke alarms, all of that stuff. So if we wanted to do building renovations or projects, or even if we're needing to update or do some type of maintenance to our building, we can track it a little bit easier without physically always having to go out to buildings. You can actually go in and pick the target area, and it'll give you a visual of what it looked like at that time, and you could provide updates. And something that caught my attention is the potential that they're talking to the 3 major insurance companies that provide insurance, which one of them is ours. And there may be potential for discounted rates if we were to do that process, but they're in the talks. There's nothing finalized, but I thought that might be helpful for us to look into to see if the investment is worth, what we may get recouped back from that. So.
Yeah, you brought that up when we were up there and that sounded very interesting. They can come in. I've seen that on a couple of projects I've done, building out for the government is they'll do it's almost like a 3D model thing that they can track everything that goes with that building as it's being built, but you can do the same thing with it already built. You can come in and do a 3D model of it. And so I have seen that too, and that sounds pretty interesting.
It does, and I'm by all means not an engineer, but it sounded like that it was compatible with like CAD interface and things like that. So again, if we have projects that we are looking at in future, if it actually truly does integrate or is compatible with it, then perhaps that could be like a foundation for people that we contract with in future.
Awesome.
One of the ones I went to was Ask Your Board the Tough Questions. It was actually run by Rick Maloney. And he kind of started, the way he did this, the questions that most boards ask and stuff kind of led you by the end to a strategic plan and policy governance. And he just kind of reaffirmed where we were and what a good thing we started 2 or 3 years ago when we started down that path. And the guy sitting next to me, the old guy, kept asking me questions about what we did and stuff. And I was telling him how we hired Rick and went through the process. He ended up being one of Rick's best friends, who Rick had placed in the audience to ask people what they thought of the presentation. So him and I had a pretty nice chat. And and then the funding for the future, went to that one too. Heard a lot of the same stuff from Corey when he was here. It's good to hear that stuff be reaffirmed. Courageous leadership was another one I went to. And the theme of that was, it's always better to be straight with stakeholders, even when you got to tell them bad things, and not sugarcoat it, and you're better off in the long run. And that's something I know, but it's also nice to have that reaffirmed. And then federal and state regs on school directors' public statements talked a lot about do's and don'ts on levies and bonds. And I kind of remember hearing this at a school board meeting. It might have been when Corey was here, but we can't publicly, as a school board or director, say that we want you to support the levy. But if we pass a resolution, we can say that the board has passed a resolution in support of the levy. So I think that's kind of splitting hairs, but if that's what's legal. And I like us going to dinner a couple times and the interaction that we get to know each other a little better. I think that's a big part of going to these conferences.
Yeah.
It definitely was good to network with some of our other nearby districts and
Yes.
districts far away. Some of our districts like Ellensburg, I met some of the reps from there, and they had a lot of nice things to say. Sunnyside got a chance to talk with them a little bit in some other districts, but yeah.
It was kind of nice, sorry. It was kind of nice that when we would see each other, we would all go to a table or try to, but there was other ones that just came and sat at your table. And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
we need to do a little more of that, is, going and just sitting down and, meeting some new people by just sitting down there. And, we had the one when we were having breakfast that morning. I don't remember where, Nat Cheese.
Yeah.
He just came down and sat with us and he's like, so where are you guys from? We told him, oh, I'm Nat Cheese, but just seeing some of that was, maybe we need to do a little more of that, getting out of our comfort zone and going sitting with it, because it was pretty interesting. He talked quite a bit. So anyway.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me to go to attend WASDA with you guys. I really appreciated that. I did the new member boot camp as well, and definitely learned a lot there. And then I went to a couple of on-board sessions. So a couple of those bigger, longer sessions. So I went to one on finance, and then I went to one on basically data, statistics, and equity. It all sort of rolled into one, which was really interesting. It was really nice to see just sort of all that data that comes into us, that there's a way to sort of digest it and look at it and really make some meaning out of it. So that was really cool. I loved the keynote speakers. I thought they were amazing. It was really interesting. Oh, I got a chance to go to a bond session and talk to Monique Dugas from 112 for a second. That was nice, just to say, hey, I'm on your team. So that was fun.
Monique's helping us lead the work for our levy campaign for ESD 112.
Yeah, that was it. It was great.
Awesome. I sat in on a few. Like I said, I sat in the one with Jose on the cell phones. I thought that was very interesting. I think that's definitely something we need to look into. Putting a little more emphasis on that. I think it is a policy we have, but I think it's something that needs to be enforced. Personal opinion, but whatever the board wants to do. The budget one was very interesting, and I was glad I sat in there with Brad, because Brad sat next to me and goes, oh yeah, that's a good question. Oh yeah, that's a good, oh yeah. So that was really good to sit with him, because he was just, anyway. The other one that I sat in, I was all by myself, was safety and security for the public and the school. And it was, and I can't remember the guy's name who did we meet up with at the place afterwards, and he came and talked to us, and he was sat at my table. Anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, he's superintendent for another school, but how getting the school district involved with the community. And it was very nice for me to be able to say, we have coffee with the soup, we have open forum things. Our superintendent meets with the police chief, fire chief, public works. I mean, we do those things, and it was things that they started doing after having some bad things happening in their community. And one of their ways of solving was getting involved with the community and getting involved with the leadership in the community with the schools. And I'm happy to say we do that. And so that may help us in the long run to hopefully not have some of those things, but being able to tell them that. And our SRO was hired, we hired them from the police department. And so he knows everybody. I told him about the scenario we put on. It was one of the only ones ever done where we put a full blown scenario on. And they're like, "You did?" I go, "Yeah." And we learned a lot of things that did not go well. But that's the whole purpose of doing it. And so they were pretty impressed with that. So that was really neat. So yeah, I think it seems like I got a little more out of this one than I did a lot of the other ones for some reason. I don't know if I picked certain ones that more appealed to what I was thinking, but I also just kind of went out on my own and went to some. So it was very interesting.
I think it also helps that, this is the third or fourth one we've been to, a little bit more about what to expect and a little bit more about what direction you might want to
Yeah.
go when you're there.
So anyway,
I have, so I attended the first one of the first ones I attended was the AI work that Quincy is doing. And they're a little bit ahead of us in that they already have kind of a policy drafted for, what does it look like? Education component at K-5, using and introducing in middle school, and then using it as a tool in high school. And so that was really interesting, and I like the process that they've gone through for that. I went to a student voice one. You have to sign each one. There's 3 of them each one. Went to a student voice one where they talked about how they'd use students on the board, and then how these students who are on the board actually initiated a summit with all other students that are on school boards to figure like, what do you do? What do we do? What's your board? How does your board use you? And so I know the board has had conversations about, I'm trying to include, how do we include a student voice in this component of it, whether it's actual board members or whether it's a different component. So I try to find some of those information out. And then one of the things that really stood out to me from the first speaker was Dr. Hamill. Yeah, Hamill. Talking about how there's really a big move away from content-based competencies to skill-based competencies. Because when you think about it, you don't need to know anything anymore. You just need to know how to find it. You need to know what to do with that information once you get it. So the analysis, the critical thinking, these are skills that are never going to go away no matter how good technology gets, because then when you have to decipher, is this technology accurate? Is what I'm being told in AI accurate? Am I using it correctly? And so that was a good reminder for me that the pendulum keeps swinging. First was everybody needs to go to college. Does everybody now? Oh crap, we've really missed the boat. We said everybody to college. And we have a bunch of people who actually need to learn how to use their hands and their brains to do other things. And so, so that was another good reminder for me. And then just an FYI, Amy was working hard this afternoon to get the levy page on our website up and running. So it's launched. It's still kind of in its infancy stages where she has to add some other embedded video or two and some other icons and such. But the meat of the information's on there. So if you have any feedback you want to give her after you had a chance to look at it, please send it on get it out there. That way we can start putting QR codes up at the supporting events and such. And we're going to do coffee with soup. We have a request. Say, hey, once you make a levy, go here and we'll take a vote.
Awesome. Okay, a couple we'll do from the board, and I have a few things, but we can start with the rest of you and see what everybody has, if they have anything for to talk about from the board. So if anybody has anything.
I did have a question about how someone can have their child do the flag salute. I did tell them I believe that it was teacher selected. And if so, I believe it was second grade, right? Teacher selected, first grade, my apologies. Okay. But I did tell them to talk to their teacher or to talk to their child's teacher and to find out, at their local school.
It's the office. That's where I kind of get the names from.
Okay. And Yeah, to express that interest with their teacher, if that was something. But I just want to make sure I gave that information correctly because I was like, is it second grade? I couldn't remember exactly. But anyway, there was interest on how does a child get selected for that. And I told them that's the best part of our meetings. So
Yeah.
please have your child come if they allow them to. So
Or they can even reach out to me and I
Okay.
can kind of.
work with that. Okay, I'll let them know if I see them again. And
Yep.
thank you, Sabrina.
Anything else from the board?
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, just like I said, it's nice that where we go, people know who we are. Or if they don't know who we are, we talk a little bit about some of the things we're doing. To the point of what we said, it's affirming to know that I think we are going in the right direction. And some other districts have said that they've heard a lot of positive things about us. Even one of the individuals who helped with the superintendent hiring out of 105 that we met, he said that he heard a lot of the good things that we were doing. I believe Rob knows him, so maybe he's influenced or biased. I don't know, but no, I'm just playing. But he said he had heard a lot of good things. So it's nice to know that when we're out and we're representing our district, that we have good things happening here, and we've got a lot of good momentum.
I like that we go as a group. It's not one or two of us. There was a few school districts that I saw that there was one, maybe two that were able, and I get it. I mean, don't get me
It's
wrong.
hard with budgets.
It
right now,
is,
too.
and it's also hard with people's jobs and people
Yeah.
that maybe not have the flexibility, but I'm glad we're able to do this as a group and go as a group and setting up the times that we can sit down and actually talk about what happened during the day. So, because I know you were telling me some of that AI stuff when we were up there, so that was good to hear that. Okay, so a couple things I have is we talked about a onboarding. We only have one new member. We did an onboarding with Trey. What I suggest, and we'll see what you guys think about it, is I would like to try to do an onboarding before our January 13th meeting and maybe do it at 5 o'clock. And I'm not saying everybody had to be here because if it's just an onboarding, really, it's kind of, some Brad and, some of that stuff. And I can make it at 5. I don't have an issue with that. But if somebody couldn't make it, I don't think it would be the end of the world. But I'm just putting it out there. We really have just one, and that way we don't try to do an evening. And
You can't make it, it is in the.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I can be there.
Kind of defeats the purpose, yeah.
Elena's like, I got this, don't worry.
I would like to recommend that and see what the board thinks about trying to do that. And I figured the sooner the better. I did go over a little bit just to let you guys know. I met with Elena upstairs with Sabrina a little bit to kind of go over some timelines of when we needed to have things in, maybe when to look for the board packet to sign it after the meetings, when the surveys are due. We send her a survey so she kind of see what one looked like. I did explain, which we all had to learn, was why some of them we get backup information and some of them we don't. So I explained that now, so it will hopefully help in the long run. I also did explain to her that for the first year, we approved all of them, but we may have some comments, but now we're to the time where they need to sell it to us and explain that it really, we are really making reasonable progress. But anyway, I wanted to see what you guys thought about that is one. The other thing was we talked about having a another public information meeting in January to talk levy stuff. I was looking at the 20th, which is the Tuesday in between our two meetings. It would just be another Tuesday. We could do it at 6 o'clock at the Learning Center like we did before. And but it would be mostly directed at information on the levy.
And which day were you thinking?
120, which is a Tuesday.
Take a look at that.
So I wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
That works.
The last one is we talked about this one is more of a learning or a study session for us as a group. Having another one of those because we need to talk about those two policies that we had for evaluating the soup, evaluating the board. I would actually like to add in the cell phone policy to possibly review that. And then maybe also look at how we could incorporate students into our board. And another little side note to that is, what do you guys think about maybe a couple board members putting a small committee together to maybe start looking at some of the policies that we have that maybe we haven't reviewed in some time? Not policies that we review, it's all the other policies that really
Mhm.
Rob works towards. Start updating some of those, and maybe in our study session, we pick 4 or 5 of those to maybe go over and see if we need to modify them, bring them up to speed a little bit. But I kind of thought if we had a couple board members that wanted to be on that committee, maybe they could start researching. They're all online. And actually, Rob has a great little tool. He told me that you can go on there and search, and it will, tell you the last time it was reviewed. It'll tell you different things about it. So,
Okay, so the policies, are we talking about the policies that are the operational, or are we talking about like our
Like cell
work
phone policy.
policies or?
like,
The operational procedure policies. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Because I'm telling you, there's some of those that I'm not sure anybody's looked at in 20 years.
Yeah, the
At
thousands
least.
to 5,000
Sure.
series.
So,
I almost wonder, instead of a committee, if we just try to set some study section. I cannot talk.
Sessions.
Sessions, thank you. Aside, right, where we can just dive in and say, okay, these are the policies, we're gonna chunk out this meeting and see where they're
I
at.
don't disagree with you. The only thing I was thinking on the committee was maybe having them find 4 or
Which-
5 that we could look at instead of all of us, if we do it that way, who decides which ones we do?
Gotcha.
That was the only reason I was thinking, if 2 people decided, I'll take it on I'll look through them and maybe I'll come up with 2 or 3 and someone else, or maybe we all do that. Maybe it's everybody.
Maybe
Look
divide
at
and
the
conquer.
policies and say, you know what, everybody spend some time looking at the policies, come up with 2. Everybody gets 2, and if we doubled up on any, we would pick those, and those would be the ones maybe we go after.
That could.
Maybe
be.
that's a better deal than picking a couple
Or
people.
perhaps chunk out, like you get maybe
Yep.
1,000 through
Yep,
1,005.
we can definitely do that too.
Yeah, because I think something like that, then we were be able to kind of do at least a little bit more of a
Yep.
broader assessment.
I think that would be a great idea.
Because we've
but
talked about it, and I know we all are busy, but that definitely could, be manageable, and then we can have a study
Everybody,
session to.
yeah, how many different sections are there?
5.
Yeah, we'll do the zeros and.
Well, but we're not gonna do the zeros. So there's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Covers all of our
Because the
policies.
zeros are the board policy, governance policies, we just.
So why not,
We could
let's,
each take one. We
Yeah.
could just take the number of our district.
Maybe the next.
oh, there you go.
I'm District 3, I'll look at the 3,000.
I don't know, do we want to put sure, because sometimes those don't always, I'm just saying number wise, so that somebody's not stuck with 20 of them and.
Oh, I think there's a pretty good amount in each of them. I don't think anybody's gonna get off easy.
So let's start with the first one and see if we can get a couple of these out of the way. What do you guys think about the onboarding on the 13th at 5?
I like that. Do we need a motion?
Yes,
Oh,
Make
wait,
a mo-
wait, hold on, I'm sorry, the 13th?
the 13th,
5 o'clock.
1/13/26 at 5 o'clock to do an onboarding with.
Yes, I could do that one.
Okay, I make a motion that we have onboarding on January 13th, 2026 at 5 p.m. before our board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There,
There,
wait a step.
I was just getting ready to poke
I
you.
know. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, what about the public information for levy information on 120 at the Learning Center at 6 p.m.?
I like that. I make a motion that we have a levy information meeting on January 20th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the Learning Center.
And I second that.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now, we're gonna move on to this one, and you guys can word it however you wish to word it.
So we need to pick a date. Do we want to do it Saturday morning?
So here's a couple things.
Which one are we doing?
We
I'm
could,
sorry.
this is our little study
Board
session.
retreat.
Board retreat. We can do a Saturday morning, or we could do an evening. I really, I know some people don't like to give up their weekends. Some people have a hard time on the evenings. I'll make whatever work. So it doesn't matter to me. I think we could do this if we did it at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. I think we could be done by 12 or 1 pretty easily.
Mhm.
So if we wanted to give up a morning on a Saturday, We might have to do it when it's cold because Trey can't give up his golf game, but if we do it during the winter, we'll be all right.
Are we thinking like February-ish?
I think so. February, March
Where
timeframe.
I do it.
Okay.
Um,
I'm gone the first weekend in February. Other than that, I'm open.
Okay, which day or which month are we looking at?
Either February or March.
February. or March?
Do you,
Okay.
maybe let's do this. At the next meeting, let's pick that date. That way
Yeah.
everybody can look at their calendars, kind of see what they got planned and see if a weekday or a weekend works better.
Okay,
And
I
let's
can
come
tell you
back with
right
some
now, my
ideas.
February is pretty crazy. I'm all over the place.
So, and March is
that month,
fine.
But
with
March,
Me too.
I'll take a look.
So, but why don't we, I will send out an email. I'll look at my calendar and I'll pick like 4 different dates and send them out. And that way we'll have targets to look at and then you guys can kind of decide what you want to do. I'll pick 2 Saturdays and then I'll pick 2, maybe a Tuesday evening, on our off meeting night
Mhm.
weeks like we did the other one and see what we want to do. And I think if we met at 5:30 on a weeknight, I think we could be out of there by 9 o'clock, pretty easy. So I'll pick some and I'll send them out to the group or I'll send it through Sabrina and then you guys can respond. And then at the next meeting, we can decide when that's gonna be. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got all my stuff done, I think. Anything else from the board? Okay, Brad, we're gonna go to budget. Do you have anything to share with us or is it just an FYI and we're good?
FYI, budget status is looking good for the month of October,
Perfect.
and we'll have November. Oh, we won't do that till January, will we? No, but cash flow is looking good too. It's not in this one, but
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna move to executive session. We put Josie off as long as we could. Thanks for coming. We'll see you
Yeah,
guys. in
thanks
a
for
few
coming.
weeks.
Thank you. What? It's on my phone.
She's gonna be the example of the cell phone call.
When I thought we were gonna say, give me your phone.